Okay, so with that said, I believe we would be spending about maybe 30 to 40 minutes for this entire session. We don't want to take too much of your time. We know you're all busy people. So the session will be divided into two. And I want to inform you or tell you, I'll assure you that it's going to be a very enlightening session. You're going to learn a lot about the NHF scheme, how it works, and how your organizations, because I believe most of you are working class and you're probably in HR. And the whole idea is to see how we can collaborate. My company, which is P1 Stars, a real estate development company, how we can collaborate with the NHF scheme, right, through the primary mortgage bank that we are partnering with, which is called City Code. So that's the whole idea of this session. How can we collaborate? How can we ensure that we bring as many people on as possible on board through the NHF scheme so that people can become homeowners as early in their lives as possible? So that's why we are here. That's why we're gathered. I know quite a number of us want to access the scheme, but we do not know how to do that. So all of that is going to be answered. All of those questions are going to be answered today during the session. So we will have two sessions. The first session will be taken by an expert on the field. He's someone who works with the primary mortgage bank that we're partnering with called City Code Mortgage Bank. I'll be bringing him on board very shortly. But then just to let you know that once he's done with this session, we'll have Q&A. So if anybody has any questions or any comments, we'll take those questions and comments. And then afterwards, I will then introduce our company and our products as well, so that we can then tie the products to the NHF scheme. So we know how we can then collaborate and work together essentially. What we have done as a company very quickly is we've tried to come up with products that are very affordable, housing products that are very affordable, so that it's not so much of a burden on the people that would be interested in participating in the scheme. So the whole idea is that we want to make housing affordable for as many people as possible, so that you don't have to necessarily break the bank in order to own your own home. Okay, that's the whole idea of why we're gathered here today. And I want to encourage us to listen attentively and be active in this meeting. I'm going to mute everybody just to avoid all distractions, any form of distraction. So everybody's going to be muted. And at the end of each session, if you want to speak, you will be asked to raise your hands to speak and then ask your question or give your comments. Okay, so I'm muting everybody now. So everybody's muted. Right at this time, with all said, I would like to bring on board Mr. Ariemi Egbe to do his presentation. He'll be speaking strictly about the NHF, how to participate in the NHF, how you can become a contributor, and how you can open an account, and how you can leverage the scheme, not just for yourself, but for your colleagues, for your staff, and for your friends as well. Okay. Like I said earlier, once it's done, I will then step in and do my own session regarding our products, and then we can take questions and answers and we can call it a day. Okay, so at this point, I'll ask Ariemi to go ahead and do his presentation. Ariemi, over to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adewole. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ariemi Egbe. Hello, can you hear me? I need some feedback. Let me be sure that.
Yes, we can hear you. They can't speak because they are muted, but we can hear you.
Okay, no problem.
You're loud. We can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Thank you very much. So for today, basically, I'll be telling us what.
Sorry, you've gone off. I can't hear you. You've gone off.
Hello?
Yeah, you're back now. You went off for a few seconds. You're back now. You're back now.
All right. Thank you Thank you. Okay, so basically, I'll be telling us what the NHF is all about, for those of us who don't already know what the NHF is about. And I'm also going to be taking us through how to enjoy the benefits that accrue from being a contributor to the NHF scheme. I want to believe, according to the information I have, that many of us, present at this session are heads of human resource, and some other staff of other organizations who are in positions to help their staff access the NHF loans. Some staff, I did a session last week with some group of persons, and to my greatest surprise, those group of persons were contributors to the national deductions were about and how they could benefit from from those contributions they made. So quick, let me just introduce myself. He's already done that. My name is Adewole. I work with Citico Mortgage Bank, one of the primary mortgage banks registered in Nigeria to carry on mortgage business. And I've been with the bank for about 3 years. I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and I also give financial advisory and mortgage finance counseling to anyone who cares to listen, for free, of course, during this session. So very quickly, without wasting too much time, I don't intend to take more than 30 minutes. I will entertain questions as we go on, and then at the end of the session too. So very quickly, Mr. Adewole, can I share my screen?
Yes, you can. You're a co-host. You can share your screen.
Hello?
You can share your screen.
Hello?
You can share your screen. You can share your screen. You're a co-host.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, wow. I said, yes, you can share your screen.
I said, yes. You can. Okay. I can share my screen. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Let me see. Just give me a minute. Give me a second. Let me quickly share. Please confirm that you can see my screen, Mr. Adewole.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Confirm that you can see my screen now.
Yes, we can. We can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. So this is accessing the National Housing Fund loan. And I hope as we go through the session, we won't have difficulty understanding any of the contents of these slides, because I've tried my best possible to see that I make it as simple as possible. And I hope I achieve that result. So first, we need to understand what the NHF loan is. I'll go through all of these things I've taken on this slide, but I need to understand, I need to explain to you what the National Housing Fund loan is first. So the National Housing Fund loan, I think it was established by the federal government. And we have the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, who are the bank that are responsible for giving out these National Housing Fund loans. And so I'll be telling us how you qualify to be a beneficiary of those loans and how you can access those loans. Of course, with help from a primary mortgage bank, one of which I represent. So first, the eligibility criteria, you have to be a Nigerian above 21 years of age. You have to be a contributor to the National Housing Fund scheme, and you should have a steady paying job or business. So what it means for number one, you must be above 21 years of age. I think that's self-explanatory. Number two, you must be a contributor to the National Housing Fund scheme. Now, for some of us who are employees of different organizations, you find out that on your payslip, there are two sides on your payslip. There's the side where you see all your emoluments, your income. And then there is another side where you see all the deductions. I know many of us know what the pension stands for. The pension deduction from your payslip, you know what it stands for. We all know what the tax stands for. We all know what what ITF and all that stands for. But there is one portion of the National Housing Fund, which is basically 2.5% of your monthly basic salary, 2.5% of your monthly basic salary. Now, that is what we are here to talk about. Some persons don't understand how they can access the National Housing Fund loan, but they are being contributors to that pool of funds. So let us see the National Housing Fund scheme like a cooperative kind of thing. It's just like you are a contributor to the pool of funds, and now it is time for you to borrow from the cooperative. If you're a member of a cooperative, you contribute, and then they tell you can access so percent of your contributions at any time. So that is just like that's how the National Housing Fund is. By virtue of the fact that you contribute to the National Housing Fund, you can apply to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria through a primary mortgage bank to access the National Housing Fund loan. How do we do this? The FMBN has said you cannot apply for the NHF loan directly from FMBN. You must go through a primary mortgage bank, one of which is City Code that I represent. And you must have a steady paying job or business. I'm sure everybody in this session qualifies by virtue of these three eligibility criteria. So what are the characteristics of the National Housing Fund loan? The maximum loan amount you can get is 15 million naira. For now, I know some years ago it was 5 million. It was 5 million some years ago, but then the Federal Mortgage Bank saw the need to increase the amount. You understand? Taking into consideration inflation and all that. It was then becoming very difficult for people to buy a house with 5 million naira. And so they had to up the amount to 15 million maximum. And then you can have a maximum tenure of 30 years, subject to obligous age. There's some age there. Subject to the obligous age. So what this means is that you can access a loan of 15 million for a tenure of 30 years, for a maximum tenure of 30 years, but that will be subject to your age. I'll explain this. Now, it's expected that at 60, you should have stopped paying your mortgage. That is the assumption. And so they say, for people who are 35 years of age, you have 25 years to pay back. How do you calculate the tenure of your loan? How do you know the tenure of your loan? It's very simple. 60 minus your current age. 60 minus your current age, subject to a maximum of 30. So what are we saying? If you're 35, you have 25 years to pay back. If you're 40 years of age, you have 20 years to pay back. If you're 25 years of age, you have 30 years to pay back. Now, if you do 60 minus 25, you get 35. But because we have capped the tenure at 30 years, it means such persons will be going for a tenure of 30 years. So there's one part to the NHF that I also want to explain to all of us. Now, the rule guiding the NHF is just like the same rule guiding your pension contribution. Now, every month, a particular amount is deducted from your salary and remitted to your PFA. And we have been told that it is only when we retire or when we are 60, we can approach our PFAs to access those monies. Now, the same rule applies to the NHF loan. That 2.5%, for those of us who have been contributing before now, that 2.5% of your monthly basic that has been deducted over the years, you can, when you're 60, approach the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to withdraw all the monies you've contributed over the year, whether or not you apply for the National Housing Fund loan. That is the rule. That is the rule. And the NHF loan comes at an interest rate of 6%, just 6% per annum. So you can access a loan of up to 15 million for a maximum tenure of 30 years at 6% per annum. I want to believe that's very clear. So this slide, I'm sure, will be shared with everyone. I've said the loan goes for 6% per annum. It doesn't shift. It's 6% fixed. It's not subject to changes in market rates. So the advantage you start to get from accessing the NHF loan is that you would have blocked a loan of 15 million for 6%. That's the cheapest you can get in Nigeria. And it's not affected by inflation or anything. We all know what has happened to our inflation. Inflation in Nigeria is crazy, but I can tell you that those of us who have accessed NHF loans for years ago still pay these loans at 6%. There is no bank writing any NHF subscriber that they are about to review interest rates. They have locked that amount at 6%, and they're already enjoying their apartments. So how do we apply for the National Housing Fund loan? That is where our HRO professionals will come in. So this is the process flow from application to disbursement of the loan. First, we apply for the National Housing Fund loan. I have slides to explain each of these points. I will tell us what we need to do to apply. We will get approval from the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. That's the primary mortgage bank. And then the customer will apply for drawdown. So first, for number one, City Code or the primary mortgage bank will give you the NHF application forms, which you will fill and return to the primary mortgage bank. The primary mortgage bank sends that your completed form to FMBN, that's the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, together with supporting documents. And then we wait for FMBN to give approval to that application. When the approval is given, when the approval is given. Hello, Mr. Adewole, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but your screen seems to be it's showing something else.
Okay, I'm noticing that too. I'm noticing that. Sorry. You just give me a second. I think I'm having some issues with sharing my screen. Even I can't see my presentation. Let me just close it and restart it. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's back now.
Okay, you can see my screen now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So you can put it on. Yeah, okay, great.
All right. So sorry about that breaking transmission. So after applying for the National Housing Fund loan, we wait for FMBN to give approval to that loan. And as soon as the loan is approved by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, we inform the subscriber or the applicant to say your loan has been approved. FMBN will also give us some conditions to draw down the money from FMBN. Immediately those conditions are met, FMBN disburses the money to the primary mortgage bank, not the individual. They disburse to the primary mortgage bank because everything has to be done through the primary mortgage bank. And once that disbursement is done, we will invite the applicant to apply for drawdown of his money. We invite you to say, oh, FMBN has disbursed your money to us. We have your money with us. Come and meet so conditions so that we can pay your vendor or whoever you're buying the property from. We can also pay directly to the subscriber or the applicant. That is in the event where the person has fully paid for the property with which he applied. And once those conditions are met, we pay the developer or the subscriber, as the case may be. So applying for NHF loan, what do you need to apply for NHF loan? This is the list of everything you need to apply for NHF loan. You open an account with a minimum deposit of 10,000 naira. This account is what you open with City Code Mortgage Bank. And so we'll give you account opening forms, because first you have to be our customer for us to begin to process your application, right? You have to be our customer for us to process your application, because of course, all the payments you'll be making to FMBN will have to pass through your account for tracking purposes. You fill an NHF application form. This form will be provided by the bank, right? It will be provided by the primary mortgage bank, which in this case will be my bank. Property offer and acceptance letters. Because you'll be applying for the loan, you would have indicated the property with which you want to apply. We did not just send applications to FMBN. On that NHF application form, you would have stated that you want to buy a 3-bedroom apartment at so place. And so whoever is selling that property to you may have given you an offer letter stating the property description, the address, the amount, that's the offer price, and the terms of payment, which the applicant will have to accept. For some offer letters, they have an acceptance clause where they just say, okay, kindly sign here to accept this offer, and then the person signs. That letter, suffices for offer and acceptance. But if the offer letter does not have such clauses, such provisions for acceptance, you can write a separate letter to the person selling to you to say, I accept the offers, the terms they stated in your offer to buy this property. So that covers offer and acceptance. It's a very simple thing to do. Copy of title document covering property to be financed. Now, we do not just finance any property. We don't finance just any property. Any property we finance must have a proper title document. A title document that will show the ownership of that property you're buying. So you don't go into, scams. You don't go into scams. We must confirm that that property has a title, and we must confirm the authenticity of that title document. That you might not have a headache with. Once you have identified the property you want to buy, the vendor or whoever you're buying from, it is his responsibility to give you this title document. All you need to do is look at the property and agree whether or not you like it. If you like it, you decide to key in. Ask the person to give you a title document. In fact, this knowledge is for everybody. Whether or not you're going through a mortgage, it is something you should know. Now, even if you have 500 million and you need to buy a house, the first thing you should ask is the title document. Ask the person to give you a title document. If the person gives you a title, there are some certain things you look out for. If you do not know what to look out for, give it to a lawyer or give it to a mortgage expert. They can tell you what to look out for. Just be sure that that title is registered. And once it is registered, you can also engage a lawyer to go ahead and do due diligence on that title before you buy any property. Make sure you do that due diligence before you buy any property. If you have not done due diligence, please and please do not buy the property, no matter how cheap they offer it to you. So that's title document. Then you have to make a minimum equity contribution of 10% of the loan amount. We have said the maximum loan amount you can access from the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is 15 million, right? It means the maximum equity contribution or the maximum qualifying in quotes, the maximum qualifying equity contribution for NHF loan is the minimum qualifying equity contribution for NHF loan is 10% of the loan amount, right? So for your application to be sent to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and for the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to consider that application, you must have made equity contribution of at least 10% of the loan amount. You should understand, many persons ask if this 10% is a charge. This 10% is not a charge. If you're buying a property of 20 million, for instance, and you hope to secure a mortgage of 15 million, it means there is 5 million that is supposed to come from your pocket because the mortgage will not finance 100% the cost of that property or the price of that property. So a property of 20 million means that you finance it through mortgage of 15 million and 5 million from your purse. If you intend to apply for an NHF loan of 13 million, it means you have to source 7 million from your purse. that part that you are sourcing from your pocket is what we refer to as equity contribution. Party who has said he wants to apply for 15 million and he has 5 million to pay to the developer. If you have paid the developer advance 3 million, that 3 million is enough to apply for the NHF loan. That is what we are trying to say here. If you have made equity contribution of at least 2 million, that 2 million is enough to qualify you to apply for the National Housing Fund loan. If you have made equity contribution of just 1 million, FMBN is saying because that 1 million is less than 10% of 15 million, which you're applying for, they cannot process your application. But we should understand, any property you're buying, you might have a different arrangement from the with the developer or the vendor selling to you. So if I'm the vendor now and I say my property is 20 million, but you have to make down payments of 3 million, you cannot say because you want to finance through a mortgage that you want to pay the vendor 1.5 million, which is qualifying you to apply for the National Housing Fund loan. You have to reason the terms that the vendor has given to you. But whatever terms you reach with the vendor, just be sure that whatever equity contribution you make is equivalent or more than 10% of the loan amount. I want to believe that's clear enough. Recent 3 months pay slip and recent 6 months bank statement. These two items are together. These items are needed to assess the person's affordability. Nobody wants to give you a loan that will truncate your livelihood. Nobody wants to give you a loan that you pay and be frowning. We want to give you a loan, in such a way that you can be able to pay and also survive. And that is why we need your 3 months pay slip and 6 months bank statement so that we can assess your affordability. Tax clearance or tax certificate or tax card. Now, many of us in Lagos, I know we have tax cards. That card alone is what we need. Just take a picture of the card, not the original. You can just scan the card or take a picture and send it as part of the documents you need to apply. Provision for legal and survey search is 55,000 naira. These are the associated costs with applying for the National Housing Fund loan. We should understand that all of these costs are given to you at cost recovery. There is nobody making any profit on any of these costs. And you should also understand that whether or not you're financing this property through a mortgage, these costs are costs that you will still incur. That is if you want to do your due diligence on the property you are buying. So first is legal and survey searches, it costs 55,000. Now, if we have a group buying into a particular estate, for this provision for legal and survey searches, each applicant is to pay just 30,000 naira. The 25,000 naira there is for the survey search. So legal search costs 30,000, survey search costs 25,000. The survey search, only one survey search will be conducted for the entire estate. And so if we have 20 subscribers in that estate, those 20 subscribers can come together and contribute money to make 25,000, and then they conduct the survey search. But the legal search, everybody has to pay individually. So I'll tell you what the legal search and survey search does. Now for the legal search, this legal search is to determine the status of that title that is covering the property. Now when we conduct the legal search, we'll be able to verify the authenticity of the title documents that the vendor has provided. We'll be able to identify the true ownership of that title document. We'll be able to identify or trace the history of that title document. We'll also be able to know whether or not that title document has been used as collateral somewhere. If there is a lien on that title document, after we conduct the legal search, that legal search report will show us all of this information. And so it is important that we do the legal search. Even on your own, if you want to buy the property, make sure you spend this money and do legal search, because you don't want to go and buy a property, move into the property, and then 6 months down the line, a bank is coming to foreclose on the property because you did not do your due diligence. At the time you bought the property, that property was already, mortgaged to a bank, and you did not know. So let us all endeavor to make that due diligence anytime we want to invest in real estate. Provision for valuation of the property to be financed. We are supposed to value the property that we will finance. That valuation report will be sent as sent together with all the other documents we have listed, we'll send them to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria wants to know the value of that property that you want to buy. Remember, the maximum loan amount you can apply for is 15 million, but they want to be sure that that property you're buying can comfortably cover 15 million. That property is supposed to serve as collateral. The same property you're buying serve as collateral for the loan. So they want to be sure. Of course, we all know if you're taking a loan of 2 million, if it is a collateralized loan, you must provide a collateral that is more than 2 million. And so we'll value the property and then send the application together with that valuation report to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. If you're buying a property on your own and a vendor has given you a price, even if you have cash, you're not going to a mortgage, it is important that you consult an estate surveyor and valuer to go and value that property that you want to buy, so that you'll be sure what is the market value of this property, what is the for sale value of the property, so that you'll be sure that no vendor is trying to undo you. You'll be sure that you're paying a fair price for that property. Next is provision for processing fees. Now, this processing fee is paid to FMBN. So what happens is you pay the money to your City Code account. We are going to pay FMBN processing fees. We'll pay them through remitter. So it's 15,000 naira per applicant, and it's paid to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Provision for credit search. Now, this credit search is conducted on the applicant. Some of us will know what credit search is. If we have bankers in the house, I'm sure we all understand what the credit check will do. We want to know the credit history of this person that is applying for this loan. Even FMBN wants to know the credit history of this person that is applying for this loan. It's part of this credit search report is part of the documents that we send to FMBN when we are sending your application. And so if the person has any existing loans elsewhere, the credit search will show. How has this loan performed over the years or over the months that the person has taken the loan? The credit search will also show the loan. It will also show the performance of that loan. And so it goes a long way to determine the character of the person applying for the loan. Now, let us be clear. We are not saying you cannot apply or that you cannot benefit from the NHF if you already have an existing loan. You can have as much as 10 loans running and still apply for the National Housing Fund loan, as long as your income can carry it. As long as your income can carry it. Somebody could be earning 3 million, for instance. You have a loan somewhere, you are paying 500,000. You have a loan somewhere else, you are paying 100,000. That's a total of 600,000 against 3 million. And you want to apply for an NHF loan. Such a person can still apply for an NHF loan. It doesn't affect the person, right? Because the person's income can carry it. And so FMBN, I can give you the standard. FMBN says they do not expect that anyone should finance this mortgage or to finance total loans, should finance total debt. Your total debt should not exceed 1/3 of your monthly net salary. That is what the rule says. I think it's the labor law. Your total debt, all the debts you have, what you pay on a monthly basis as debt, should not exceed 1/3 of your monthly net income. And so if you have 3 million, what it means is that you can decide to take facilities everywhere such that the aggregate monthly repayment will be 1 million. You are good to go. So if you already have loans that are totally 600,000 naira monthly repayment, it means you still have space to collect loans that will make you have 400,000 repayments. Total is 1 million. You are still good to go. You can apply for the NHF. So this shouldn't scare anybody. Letter of undertaking. The bank will provide you with this template. All you need to do is put your address and sign. Now, the NHF loan, you can only access it once in a lifetime. You can only access it once in a lifetime because it's very cheap, right? And so there has to be a letter of undertaking from the applicant. That letter of undertaking is the applicant undertaking that he has never accessed the National Housing Fund loan before. We already have the template. I, Mr. So, you fill your name, hereby undertake that I have not benefited or accessed the National Housing Fund loan in the past. It's a simple letter like that. All you need to do, the letter is already there. All you need to do is put your name, put your address, and sign. We are going to provide you with that letter. 2 passport photographs, of course, and then your birth certificate. This is what you need to apply for the National Housing Fund loan. Hello, Mr. Adewole, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Everything is fine.
All right. So After we have done all of these things will be sent to FMBN. So we are sending a couple of things to FMBN. Now, the number one is with City Code. It has nothing to do with your applying for the NHF loan. You open an account with City Code because everything will pass through there. Now, from number two, you fill an NHF application. It's a 3-page form. We are going to give you that form you fill. Property offer and acceptance letter. The vendor will give you an offer letter. You accept it. Copy of root title, copy of title document covering the property. The vendor, whoever is selling to you, provide us with this document. So you have no headache about that. Minimum equity contribution of 10% of loan. I've explained that. You just make sure you have enough to make up to 10% of the loan amount. Payslip and bank statement. These ones are very easy. You can some organizations allow their staff to generate pay slips on their own. Bank statements you can get from a mobile app, just 6 months. So it's very easy. Tax card, these are part of the things we carry around. As we carry our driver's license, and I know some of us have our tax cards in our wallets, and so it's very easy. The other ones are fees that are charges that are associated with applying for the loan. So these ones will require you to pay money into your account, and then we'll send your application to FMBN after you have submitted all of these things. So I think it's basically very easy. After all of those documents have been sent to FMBN, all we do is relax, wait. FMBN approves the loan. They inform us that that loan has been approved. They give us a couple of things to do to get drawdown from FMBN. Those things will also be communicated to the applicant and also to the vendor, because sometimes those things can will involve the vendor. But I understand that most of the things that need to be done for the disbursement to come from FMBN will lie on the vendor. Only, I don't think anything has to do with the applicant, except for the applicant to go and maybe sign some documents. So when the loan has been disbursed to the primary mortgage bank, we are going to send you a provisional offer letter for that loan. So if FMBN has disbursed your 15 million to us, for instance, we'll send you a provisional offer letter stating the terms and conditions for that loan of 15 million, which you accept. And then there will be conditions precedent to drawdown. We'll begin to work on meeting those conditions. How do we meet those conditions is what I've listed on this slide. They are very simple things. First, you apply for drawdown. It's a simple one-page letter. Just address to the bank and say, okay, I hereby apply for drawdown of approved National Housing Fund loan of 15 million, full stop. It can be a single sentence letter, no problem. Just apply for drawdown so that we know that the person has actually come to collect his money. You submit recent 12 months bank statement and recent 6 months pay slip. You might want to ask, why are you submitting bank statement and pay slip again now? This is a process, like I mentioned from the beginning, right? You have sent your application to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. FMBN will also take some time in doing their approval, and then subsequent disbursement. So that process could take about 6 months to 12 months, right? It could take about typically 6 to 12 months. And between 6 to 12 months, many things may have happened. And so as at the time FMBN has disbursed the money to the primary mortgage bank now, we want to be sure that everything is still as it were or better as at that time that FMBN has disbursed the money to the primary mortgage bank. So we get your recent 12 months bank statement and your recent 6 months pay slip so that we can check again for your affordability at that time. Let it not be that the man applied for National Housing Fund loan, 1 year ago. And as at this time that FMBN is disbursing the money, he has taken a loan somewhere that is taking almost 70% of his salary already. Adding the NHF burden alone will be a problem. And so if we do, at that point, we want to see from your bank statement, we'll see how much you pay as loan. So we'll do all of those checks. But it does not mean that if you cannot afford the loan at that time, that will not return your money. No, we'll advise you on what to do. Maybe go and reduce your obligation so that you can have space, to access the national, to collect the loan. That is what we do. So we assess you again for affordability at that time you're coming to collect the money. And then you provide for credit search in the sum of 5,000. We all understand. Credit search is to check your credit standing at any point in time. And so if we have checked your credit standing as at the beginning when we sent your application to FMBN, now that FMBN has disbursed the money, 12 months or 6 months is a long time for anything to happen, right? In terms of accessing facility. I could apply for the loan now. My application has gone to FMBN. 6 months later, I can apply for a facility of 10 million somewhere, right? But because all of these things will affect, affordability, we would like to check again after that time, because the credit search is something that is time bound. It could be valid for maybe 3 months, 6 months. And then when the time is right for the person to apply for drawdown, we do another credit check to know the current standing of that person. So you submit 12 undated checks for loan repayment. The bankers here will understand these are normal procedures for accessing loans. Submission of 12 checks. Okay, now the second one is 5 checks, not 12. Number 6 there under drawdown process. Submission of 5 checks for annual insurance premium. So the checks you provide there are actually backup checks, right? Those checks are kept with us because there will be a standing order on your account. That is number 7. We maintain a direct debit mandate on your account. That direct debit mandate is integrated with NIBS and your commercial bank. Now, it is only in events where that direct debit mandate fails for one reason or the other. It could fail because of network issues, or maybe the account was not funded on the day that the debit was supposed to occur. It's only when any of those things occur that we might have cause to present your check. Now, when your mandate fails, what do? We call you to say, Mr. So, we noticed that your payment for this month did not come in. Kindly do a transfer. And in many cases, the applicant will transfer the money, and then the checks you have provided will still remain where they are. Nobody will drop your check. It is only when mandate fails, the person also does not transfer. That is when the check will be presented. But even before any of your checks are presented, you will be duly informed to say, we are taking your check to the bank. Please kindly make sure funds are available. So they're actually backup checks they're dropping. You provide for perfection of title documents and legal mortgage. This cost will be determined by the bank. You provide for upfront charges of the loan. That's 2.5% of the loan amount plus 1,000. Now for number 9, this money you provide for under number 9 is just before disbursement. So your money has come and we have invited you. You are meeting all conditions for drawdown. Just before the disbursement is when you are meant to pay this money, because this money can only be charged when the loan has been disbursed or the money has been paid to your vendor. That is when this number 9 can be charged. It cannot be charged before. It is charged on the same day that your vendor is paid. All right. So for number 8, provision for professional authority document and legal mortgage, I will give you a calculator, something that you can use to estimate what the perfection cost would be. This cost varies from state to state. It depends on the government of that state, right? It's a revenue generation medium for different states. And so different states have different formulas that they use to calculate the cost of perfecting title documents. I have the calculator for Lagos State, right? And I will share with all of us. So you can, on your own, calculate the cost, and then on the aggregate, you get all the expenses you're supposed to incur for this mortgage process. You can get everything, at your fingertips and plan ahead. So the next is requirements for perfection. Now, all of these, number 1 to 9, you have done all of these ones. Now, this bottom part, requirements for perfection, this is what is supposed to stand as collateral for the loan. This is what will stand as collateral for the loan. 4 copies of executed deed of assignment. 4 copies of survey plan. 4 copies of executed deed of legal mortgage. This deed will be prepared by the bank. Title holders, valid means of ID card, tax clearance, and passport. Now, the title documents that they are present, this one is not your headache. The HRO people in the house and every other person in the house, this is not your headache. All of these things I've mentioned here, none of them has to come from you. It is either coming from the vendor. It is either coming from the vendor. It is either coming from the vendor or from the bank. Number 1 is coming from the vendor. Number 2 is also coming from, number 2 is coming from the applicant. Some vendors will include documentation fees in their offer letter. It means as you pay for the property, you would have also paid for documentation. So the vendors will also do survey plan. Some vendors do that, but some do not. So if you manage to go to a vendor who does not do this, it means you have to pay for survey separately on your own, right? Which you submit to the bank. Copies of executed deed of legal mortgage, the bank will prepare that. All you need to do is come and sign the document. All you need to do is just execute the deed of legal mortgage. Title holders, but this one has nothing to do with you. The vendor is to provide number 4 entirely. Number 5 has nothing to do with you. The vendor is to provide it entirely. Executed application form. Now, this is a 2-page form. It's from Lagos State. We have the form. We can provide the form for you. But this form is to be executed by the title holder and the applicant. So all you need to do on this form is sign. You're not filling anything. All you need to do is sign. And that form is going to accompany your title document to the land registry when we are going to perfect the title document. Now, some of us will be hearing me mention perfect. You might not understand what I mean by perfect. The perfection process is simply transferring the ownership of that property that you have bought to your name. Now, the property is registered in someone else's name at the land registry. After you have paid for the property, we are supposed to change the ownership of that property to you. The name covering that property, the ownership of that property as registered with the land registry should bear your name. And that is what this course is about. So we are going to do that. And it's only when that is done that we can say we have a collateral for the facility. So we disburse the money to you and we get every document that we need to complete that transfer process and all the monies that we need to complete that transfer process while you enjoy your property. Because the perfection process takes some time. If we ask the applicants to go and do the perfection before coming to us, it could take some, it means we'll be disbursing this loan maybe 2 years after FMBN has disbursed to us, because it could take you that long to perfect that title at the land registry. But because we don't want to go that route, we say, okay, give us all the documents that we need to perfect this title or to transfer the ownership to your name. Give us all the monies that we expect that we spend in doing this process. All the monies we pay to the Lagos State and all that, provide the money and take the loan. We will go and perfect this title on your behalf and keep it. When you finish paying for the loan, you can come to City Code or you can go to the bank and retrieve your title document. I want to believe that's clear. I want to believe that's clear. I think this is my last slide. And so we'll take quick questions if there are any gray areas we need to clear.
Thank you very much, Ariemi, for that very insightful presentation. Thank you so much. I believe you spoke very well, and it was quite clear to everyone what it is that is required to be done to access the NHF loan. Now, I think we have a couple of people. Someone just raised their hand, Dakuru Fasakin. But before we go to that person, there was a couple of questions that were raised in the chat box while you were speaking, and I would read out the first one I saw. And this person, Kate, is asking, what about if it is an organization that is applying for the loan? Will the credit search fee be applicable? You want to answer that quickly?
Okay, so very quickly, if an organization is applying for the loan, I need to understand what the person means. The NHF loan is for individuals, right? The NHF loan is for individuals, not corporate bodies. It's for individuals. And so a credit search has to be conducted on those individuals. I don't know if I answered that person's question correctly.
Yes, I believe you did. I think it's quite explicit. Yeah, I think
can the person confirm, please?
Okay, please, can you confirm? Kate, she has confirmed. Kate has confirmed that you answered the question correctly.
All right, thank you.
So Angela is saying, I'm not sure I understand this question, but Angela is saying, is there an NHF number required for this application? I'm not sure what that means exactly. Do you understand that question?
Okay, I think I understand. Yes. Okay, so for those of us who are already contributors to the National Housing Fund Scheme, you already have on the NHF numbers, right? You can meet your HRO to give you an NHF number. If you check your pay slip and on the deduction side, you see National Housing Fund loan or you see NHF loan, be sure that you already have an NHF number, because that money is sent to the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and is credited to your account with Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. And so there is no way you will be making that contribution and not have an NHF number. I don't know if that answers the question.
I believe it does. I believe it does. So let's quickly go to those that have raised their hands, and then once we are done with them, we can then go back to the chat box. Okay. So I will start with the first person, Dakuru Fashakin. So please go ahead. Dakuru, please go ahead and ask a question. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good
And
evening.
thank you so much for the presentation. It's really awesome. I appreciate this. Okay, my question is, actually, my company, I work in an oil and gas. We've not started the contribution.
Yes.
But yeah, I work in the HRO rep. So my boss, he has worked somewhere that they've been practicing it, they've been paying. So when he
Yes.
left there, when he came to my organization, he started talking about it. You know, we are a unionized company, so they are kind of, is this going to work? Is this real? Nigeria with their team. So actually, yes, you know, they are just so scared, which I don't know is normal, but
Okay.
so we've actually engaged an NHF in Port Harcourt. I'm based in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. So they came to the office, they
Okay.
discussed with myself and my manager, HRO manager, and we now said, okay, we'll set up a meeting, a web-based meeting for all employees, because we are not based in one place, we are spread. So it's only a web-based call or Zoom meeting that can get to everybody. So we plan in doing that next week. So, but last week, some of them came to my office and they were still saying, hey, Akoru, this thing, I'm not sure it's going to work. Oh, Nigeria, after you start to contribute. In fact, they have some persons that they are doing it somewhere and they are looking out for a way to take back their money. So I don't know how it can, you know, we can convince them that this is actually real. That's just my concern, because
Okay.
we're having the meeting next week with them. Yes. So that's just what I said I should
Okay.
share.
So
I don't
is
know.
what
I don't
you're
know.
having the meeting with you're having the meeting with your team, right? Who are you having the meeting with, please?
I think I've asked her to unmute herself.
Okay. No, I set up the meeting, but they are coming to my office to hold the meeting.
Okay, you mean the primary mortgage bank?
Yes, it's an NHF. Is in Port Harcourt. It's located in Port Harcourt here.
Okay.
So
we have a contact center in Port Harcourt.
Yes.
We have a contact center in Port Harcourt.
One Mrs. Nkiruka, I think she is in charge there.
Okay, Aremi, please, can you quickly answer the question so we can go to other questions?
Let me answer that. Now,
yes.
This is it.
Okay.
No problem. So the question, let me answer the one of your boss first. Your boss was already a contributor before he joined your company, right? Which does not practice the National Housing Fund thing. So this is what happens. It's just like pension. You leave a company that pays pension and then you go to another company. All you do is give them your pension number for them to continue paying your pension to that account, right? Now, if you leave a company that was paying pension before and you go to a company that is not paying pension, what do? You can decide on your own to continue paying money to your pension as voluntary contributor. I want to believe that answers the question. So the same thing with NHF. Now your boss is in your company and your company does not remit. He could decide to continue remitting as an individual or decide to advise the company to bring on board its employees to be contributors to the NHF scheme. Now, this is what we can help you with that. We can help bring your company on board, register your company with the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, and then you, HR, will begin to deduct 2.5% of the monthly basic salary of your employees and then remit to FMBN on behalf of your employees. That can also be done. And about the fear people have, is mortgage really working? Maybe because you're in Port Harcourt. If you're in Lagos or Abuja, you understand that mortgage really works. It works in Nigeria. I can tell you that last year alone, we disbursed NHF loans of over 2.4 billion to Nigerians. Last year alone, over 2.4 billion. This is a fact. If you want, I can give you phone numbers of people, beneficiaries who you can call and they will confirm to you that they are enjoying their house courtesy of the NHF loan. Last year alone, over 2.4 billion was disbursed to different persons in Nigeria from my bank. So this thing works, right? It is only those who doubt the system that don't get to benefit from it. You doubt the system until you get to find out or meet someone who has actually benefited from the system. And getting your money out from FMBN is not a problem. When you're retired, you can go to FMBN and collect your money. They will give it to you. Even before you retire, you can approach FMBN and tell them you want to see your account statements. They will give you your statement. In fact, there is an app that you can get and check, FMBN app, you can check your statement from there, your contributions to date. You can check how much you have in your account. So it's possible. It's possible.
Okay, Ariemi, I think you've
and
answered
then
that
for
question.
people.
Okay.
Okay.
No, quickly, round off, please, quickly, because of other people.
Okay, so for people who are not contributors and whose organizations do not contribute, what you can do is register as an individual contributor. You fill the individual registration form, submit to FMBN. For those who are contributors, you don't need to fill that form. For those who are not contributors, you fill that form, submit to FMBN. If you are self-employed, what you need to do is begin to contribute 5,000 naira monthly. You set up a standing order on your account to credit FMBN 5,000 naira every month. That's for self-employed people. For people in paid employment, you can set up a standing order to debit your account 2.5% of your monthly basic salary. You calculate it and be paying FMBN every month. It's as simple as that. You can qualify to apply for your loan after you have contributed for a minimum of 6 months. For people in paid employment, 6 months. For self-employed, 1 year.
Okay, thank you, Ariemi. Let's quickly move to the next question. I believe you've answered the question of Dakuru quite well. The next person I have is Urimidara iPhone. Urimidara, you can go ahead and ask a question.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. I think you've answered my number one question about if my company decided not to join, so I can register as an individual voluntary contributor. Then my second question is, okay, after applying for the loan, I have a house I want to buy, but you said the loan is after 1 year. Will the vendor still, will the house will still be available after 1 year? Do you understand my question?
I understand, yes.
Hello? So
I understand. That's a very popular question. So the answer to that question is this: yes and no. In fact, in most cases, no. You understand? In most cases, no. So this is the thing. We have done this NHF thing for quite some time. I just told you that last year we disbursed over 2.4 billion. It is not possible that those monies or the houses that we financed with 2.4 billion were all standing as at the beginning of the application. But because we have studied the system or understand the intricacies of the NHF loan, we know how to go about this. So the NHF best fits properties that go on off-plan arrangement. For those of us who don't know what off-plan is, a developer is about to construct. You indicate interest, right? You indicate interest. The property has not started. You can decide to make commitment to that developer. Sometimes the developer may have started something, but the building has not been completed, but you begin to make commitment, right? And so the developer builds a unit. If you're buying a 3-bedroom flat, for instance, and the developer is supposed to build 100 units of 3-bedroom flats, if the developer builds the first unit of 3-bedroom flat, we will conduct a valuation on that 1 unit that he has done. We will do the legal search on the title because we do not need the property to be ready before we do a legal search. We can conduct a legal search whether there is no property on ground or there is one. So we conduct a legal search, we value that first unit that he has constructed, and then we can use it to send the application, right? Even if the unit that he has built belongs to someone else, we know that your own might be the second, and it will be the same thing. So we value the prototype and send that application to FMBN. And while we go through the process of approval and disbursement from FMBN and all that, developer is constructing and the building is going up. So at the time that we expect that the money will be coming out from FMBN, developer may have taken that property to a level where FMBN will be comfortable enough to disburse, because FMBN will not even disburse if the property has not gotten to a habitable stage. So that's the arrangement we work with. I don't know if that's clear, because no developer will be willing to wait 12 months to receive money from you at the same rate that he gave you 12 months ago. We understand that. And all of those things are in check. So we advise, go to a developer or off-plan arrangement, but be sure that you're dealing with a credible developer. You don't want to go to a developer who, after receiving 100% of his money or full money for the property, can still not deliver your property. We don't want that. So go to a developer that is credible enough to deliver. We have identified some, we have worked with some, and we can tell you that developers who actually deliver on these things. We have also worked with developers who burnt our fingers. You understand? So from experience, we can tell you that this thing works.
Okay, thank you.
Can somebody, sorry, please, can somebody easily pay off after getting the loan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so for the NHF loan, if your NHF loan is approved,
the interest of the loan does not increase, maybe after CBN.
So if you get the loan today,
you get
it doesn't.
you
If you
send
get
the
the loan today,
now that okay, the interest is what's the interest presently?
Let me. The interest is 6% per annum, and with the NHF loan, you can pay down the loan before the expiration of the tenure, before maturity. You can prematurely liquidate the loan without any penalty. Remember, this is you borrowing from the pool of funds that you also were part of. You were part of contribution to that pool, and so it's just like you borrowing from your cooperative, and you make early repayment. Nobody will charge you any penalty for paying down on an NHF loan. So if you get the loan today, and in 2 months, God blesses you, you have that money, you come back to the bank to say, I want to pay off. You can pay off that loan without penalty. And the interest you will pay for that loan will be the interest from the time they disburse the loan to that time that you are paying off, not 1 day more. The interest for the remaining 20-something years, you will not pay that interest.
Okay.
And somebody asks, say 6% per year. Yes, 6% per annum.
Let's quickly finish with those that raise their hands before we go. Urimidara, I believe your questions have been answered properly. Do you have any follow-on questions?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So the next person whose hand is raised is Olani Olawale. Olani Olawale, please go ahead and ask a question.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I actually posted on the. I wrote the question also. The question is this: someone that has been contributing for some years, the organization has been on NHIF platform and has contributed, but he moved from that organization to another organization that does not pay into NHF contribution. In such situation, that person can access his loan based on his previous contribution. He has paid for some years, let's assume for like 5 years.
Mr. Olani, your answer is yes. Yes. Hello.
Hello, I'm with you.
Mr. Olani, yes. By virtue of your contributions for 5 years, you qualify to apply, but you have to continue contributing, right? If like you have contributed for 5 years, you joined a new company and you have not been contributing for the last 2 years, right? So what you can do is, now that you want to apply, you begin to contribute again. But by virtue of your 5 years contribution, you already qualified to apply. But FMBN will expect that you now continue. It's just like you have to be a member of a cooperative, right? For you to be able to enjoy the benefits of that cooperative. So if you're a member of a cooperative, you can borrow from the cooperative. But once you're no longer a member, you cannot borrow for the cooperative. The NHF is somewhat like that. But with the NHF, by virtue of the fact that you've contributed for 5 years, you can apply, right? But then your application should go with evidence that you have continued again. We have started contributing again. I don't know if that's clear.
Yeah, that's clear.
All right.
Okay, great.
Thank
so
you.
I think we've thank you, Olani Olawale, for that question. I think we've answered all the questions. Ariemi, do you want to go through the chat box to see if there are any questions?
Yes, I want to go through the chat, but I think we've answered many of the questions by virtue of us answering other persons. But there are some questions that I can quickly answer here. So I have one question from somebody, Helen Irunegbo, saying, what is the minimum number of years to pay off for the loan? You do not have any minimum number of years to pay off for the loan. If we disburse the loan today and you have the money tomorrow, you can come and pay it down without any penalty. Nobody's going to charge you. So you can pay down in even 20 minutes if you like. So there's no minimum. So I think what organization? Okay, so I'm coming. Let me quickly go through.
Okay.
Okay, what if I want to withdraw just my contributions only? What are the requirements? Now, if you want to withdraw your contributions, all you need to do is approach the FMBN. Just approach FMBN and apply. Tell them you want to withdraw. They will tell you all you need to do. There is no hard and fast. First, you have to show evidence of your contribution and all that. I'm sure they also have your account there. They can see your contribution, so you can withdraw your money. Those requirements will be given to you by FMBN because you do not take it from the primary mortgage bank. You withdraw your contributions from the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. But there are no difficult requirements for you to get your money out.
Okay.
Situations where you do not have NHF deduction, how can one incorporate it? You fill an individual registration form, sent to FMBN, and then apply for a passbook. I've already told you how to do this. An individual registration form, I can share an individual registration form with everybody. So if you are not a contributor already, you can decide to be an individual contributor. You register with you fill the individual registration form, set up a standing order on your account to pay 5,000 naira monthly to FMBN. That is a remitter you set up, 5,000 naira monthly to FMBN. That is if you are self-employed. If you are paid employment, you set up a remitter to remit 2.5% of your monthly basic salary to FMBN, and you're good to go. Contribute for at least 6 months for people in paid employment, 12 months for self-employed, you're good to go. Now, for the self-employed people, the 12 months, is 5,000 naira minimum. For 12 months, that's 60,000. For you to qualify immediately to apply for the loan, you can pay 60,000 upfront. That qualifies you, and then continue to do your standing order for, month by month, 5,000. Is there a minimum net salary for an employee to be eligible for the NHF loan? There is no minimum net salary, but just be sure that whichever amount you are applying for, be sure that your net salary can take care of the repayment. You know how much you are applying for. I've already told us how to determine the tenor of the loan. So if you know your loan amount and you know your tenor, you can calculate how much your monthly repayment will be. Check that monthly repayment. Does it exceed 1/3 of your salary? You can answer that question for yourself when you do that. So it's not compulsory that you must apply for 15 million. If you know your salary cannot carry 15 million, you can apply for 10 million. You can apply for 12 million. You can even apply for 5 million.
But the most important thing in that case is that your equity contribution will be higher. The lower your application, so the higher
if you're buying a property of you're buying a property of 20 million, and because of your income, you say you want to apply for 5 million. Be sure that you have 15 million. You know how to source for 15 million from your pocket or elsewhere. That's the meaning. So this one says, sir, is it possible to liaise with Port Harcourt chapter and join the call with fixed?
I've answered that already.
Okay, so yes. Madam Dakoru, I do not know who you're having that call with on the 25th of August, but I can give. I know I have a contact. I have contact people in Port Harcourt. City Code Mortgage Bank. We have a contact office in Port Harcourt. You can visit our office, and people will take you through this. So if you want that, I can give you a contact in Port Harcourt who will bring your staff on board, and then we can take it from there.
She's also asking if the slides will be shared. Yes, the slides can be shared now, right?
Slide will be shared, yes.
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 Okay.
Okay, so this person says, please kindly throw more light on the individual contribution and also the 6% per annum. Is it on the net pay or just basic salary? So the contribution is 2.5% of your basic salary, not your net pay. Just basic, 2.5% of your basic. So if your salary is 450,000 naira net or 450,000 naira gross, out of that 450,000, maybe we have 150 basic, 150 transport allowance, then 150 domestic staff allowance. The NHF contribution is 2.5% of 150,000. That's the basic, monthly basic, not the entire net. It's monthly basic. Then the 6% per annum is the interest for the loan. That is the facility interest rate, and it is 6% per annum, reducing balance, of course, 6% per annum. So if you have 30 years to pay back, you are paying 80-something thousand per month. That's what you pay for 30 years. Okay.
Okay. I think there are still a few more questions, but someone has raised his hand. Maybe we should go to that.
Okay. Yeah, someone also asked, can we have your contact for further information and list of credible vendors in Abuja and Lagos? We can also avail you with that. That's very simple.
Yeah,
but we've taken all the questions on the chat box.
Yes, we've taken all the questions. Someone raised their hand. Okay, Akintunde Olawale, I believe. Let me ask him to unmute himself so that he can ask his question quickly. Once we are done with this question, I'll do my own presentation and then we can round off. Please go ahead, Akintunde.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to believe maybe that's the last word from Rime. I want to find out, I want to find out if you can share the contact of those credible real estate firm that you know, because some of us have got our hands bound. So you might have this loan and you have a challenge in trying to pay back, because they will tell you you're going to have the property and you won't get it, and your loan will continue to run.
Okay, let me answer that question. So you are speaking to one. We are a real estate company. We're a real estate development company, and I'm going to be sharing with you a presentation of some of our projects. We have about 3 that we're working on. One of them has started already, and then the other 2 are due to start in the next couple of months. So just to answer that question very quickly, yes, we are a credible real estate company. We've been in existence for a number of years, and we've done a number of projects in the Lagos axis. Okay.
Okay,
so,
what I'm trying to say, that's Bamidele, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, yeah. What I'm trying to say is that we have these real estate firms in the country, Nigeria. Those ones that you have been able to sort out and say, look, please work with these people.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that
you are one. You are just one. You're just one. I'm looking for others.
Okay, yeah. So you can discuss that with Ariemi separately. That can be done after this presentation. Yes.
Okay.
Not during the session. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
So you can discuss that with him privately.
I think Mr. Bamidele is going to share. He's going to share some of their projects with you, and what we intend to do is we partner with P1 Stars, because we have identified them as one of the persons we want to work with, right? So we have identified P1 Stars as one of the persons we want to work with. So they will project to you their projects, and anyone who wants to key is fine. You understand? It's one thing for us to project what we have, right? And then one thing for an applicant to say, yes, oh, I like this. There are so many properties everywhere. So there are a couple of developers that you can work with. Yeah,
correct. Yeah. Ariemi, do you want to drop your contact number on the chat box so that if anybody has any further questions, they can ask you directly, right?
All right.
So that we don't take too much time on this Q&A. Let me quickly go ahead with my slides. And then if you have any further questions regarding my slides, you can then ask. Okay? Yeah, so please drop your number, and then so that they can save it and they can ask you questions separately after this presentation. Okay, so very quickly, I'm going to go to my slides. I'm sharing my slides now. I'll try not to take too much time because time has already been spent. Sorry. So just give me a few seconds while I share my slides. Yes. Okay, so can you see my slides? Ariemi, can you see my screen?
I can see your screen now.
Okay, great. Okay. Sorry, just give me a second. Okay, great. So I'll be speaking about our company and the products that we have. Like I said at the start of this presentation, the whole idea is for us to understand how the NHF works, what the requirements are, and what the steps are required for people to participate in this scheme. And I believe that Mr. Egbe from City Code has done justice to that topic. So what I'm trying to do now is to show you the products that we have, and I also tell you the benefits and the features of these products, and then also the price point, so that you can then do your maths and then determine if it's something that you want to go ahead with or not. Okay, so about P1 Stars very quickly. P1 Stars was established 4 years ago in May 2018. We just celebrated our 4th year anniversary a few months ago. It's part of the P1 group. We're into property development, and we have a portfolio of properties mainly within the Shongutedo axis. So we have properties in other parts. We have one in Abidjan, GRA, but most of our projects are in Shongutedo, and all our projects come with perfected titles. Remember, Ariemi was talking about investing with companies that have perfected titles. So all our properties have either C of O or governor's consent. We are very, very particular about the titles of our properties because we do not want to take any risks or gamble with investors' funds. So what gives us that competitive advantage as a company? We're a growing brand, fast growing, one of the fastest growing in the industry. We have an experienced management. I've been doing this business for several years, and my executive director has been doing this business for several years as well. So we have quite a bit of experience. We have a dedicated team. Some of our team members are right on this call as I speak. We have quantity surveyors, we have land surveyors, we have architects, engineers, and all sorts of people who are at the office all the time, ensuring that things are done properly. Okay, we are also committed to service delivery. That's one thing that we would not compromise on. And one of the major things that distinguish us is the fact that our prices are affordable. So we try to look for price points that are very, very much affordable and very competitive in the marketplace. So let's talk about our projects for a second. So we have 2 projects essentially that I'll be talking about. They're called the Signature Phase 1 and the Signature Phase 2. So that's the design you have there by the right of your screen. Now, the 2 projects have exactly the same design. There's no difference. The same design, same quality, just the locations that are different. But even the locations, they are both located in the same area, which is off the Monastery Road in Shongutedo. The same area, but not exactly the same spots. Okay. Now, what's the difference between the Signature 1 and the Signature 2? Essentially, is the location, like I said earlier. One is located on the right-hand side of the Monastery Road. The Monastery Road is one of the most popular roads in Shongutedo, where you have the Novare Mall, ShopRite, and it comes with the governor's consent. That's the Signature Phase 1, comes with the governor's consent. The Phase 2 comes with the C of O. Both of them have smart home features. By smart home features, I mean remote access, password access, voice controlled access, all of those things. I'll be speaking about that during the course of the presentation. The Phase 1 does not have a swimming pool, but the Phase 2 is going to come with a swimming pool. That's another major difference. One is the location, 2 is the fact that the Phase 2 has got a swimming pool and the Phase 1 does not have a swimming pool. Development timeline between 12 to 15 months, might take a bit longer than that, depending on the number of factors, but what we are budgeting is approximately 12 to 15 months, so at least have the shell structure standing. And the number of units we have in both developments is 20 units. So what are the highlights of the projects? First of all rooms come en suite. So every single room in each apartment comes en suite. Like I said earlier, we would have smart home features. I'll be speaking about that in more detail later. Then they will come with an elevator. Now, because there are going to be 5 floors, essentially 5 floors, the ground floor and then 5 floors. So by law, we are supposed to have an elevator in those apartments. So we're going to have an elevator there. And then we'll have a children's playground, a gym, 24/7 Wi-Fi internet access, obviously subscription based, but we're going to have the connections done so that you have access to the internet. And then, like I said earlier, the phase 2, you'll have the swimming pool. And they're all going to be fully serviced. So all our apartments are going to be fully serviced. Now, what services are you going to enjoy in those apartments? You would have backup power, you'd have portable water supply. Now, the backup power, let me talk about that very quickly. So we're going to have our main source of power from the national grid. So each apartment is going to be connected to the national grid, but then we're going to pre-install inverters in all the units so that whenever there's a shutdown in the public power supply, the inverters would kick in. Because the whole idea is that we're trying to ensure 24/7 power supply. Potable water, we're going to have boreholes that will be dug, and there will be water that will be supplied to each of the units. And then we'll have security, obviously, waste management, cleaning, landscaping, gardening, sewage disposal, and routine maintenance. All of these services will be provided for residents of the available units. So this is just a pictorial view of the development. That's how it looks like. That's an aerial view. It's not constructed yet, it's off plan, but this is exactly how it's going to look like once it's done. So that's the building there, and you can see the swimming pool. If you look very closely, you'll see that there's a car park at the basement there, and there's a bit of an overflow. So in case that car park is full, there are other spaces where people can park their cars as well. That's another view of the development. The signage of phase 2, this is actually the phase 2 because it's got the swimming pool. The phase 1 does not come with a swimming pool. This is a view of the living room. That's how it's going to look like. That's a view of the bedroom. This is a view of the kitchen. And this is the view of the bathroom. Okay, so this is the floor plan showing the 1-bed penthouse. So we're going to have 5 floors essentially. The first 4 floors are standard apartments, and then the 5th floor is the penthouse. So the penthouse is a bit bigger than the other standard apartments, but this floor plan here shows how the floor plan for the 1-bedroom penthouse. So you have the dining, the living room, the kitchen, and the bedroom, and then just around all of these spaces is the terrace. So this floor plan describes the 2-bedroom apartments. Again, the living room, dining, kitchen, and then the 2 bedrooms, and then you have the smaller terraces. The terraces are smaller here. That's the balconies are smaller because they are not located on the pens. Then you have the 3-bedroom penthouse apartment. This is the floor plan. Again, all of this is exactly how it's going to be stated, how it's going to be built once the construction is done. Now we have a brochure that I can also share with all of us that shows all of these things in greater detail. So the floor plans, the 3D designs, both interior and exterior, all of that is in the brochure. I can share that with you after this session. So let's talk about the smart home features. What are those smart home features? Like I said earlier, you have the voice controlled entry. You don't have to use your key to enter your apartment. You could just speak and then you have access. You have fingerprint recognition as well. You have the password lock, the smartphone app control, smart lights. So you just come into your house without having to switch on the lights manually. You can just speak and the lights come on and come off. And then you can control your home from anywhere in the world. That's the beauty of the apartments we're building. So for instance, assume you are probably maybe in the UK or in the US on vacation, and someone wants to access your apartment. The person calls you or sends you a message, and then you, from the comfort of your location, you can grant that person access into your home without being there physically. So what are the prices? These are the prices that we are currently selling the apartments. You can see that with as little as 11 million, you can actually key into one of these apartments. That's the 1-bed standard apartments with as little as 11 million, and you will have access to all of those features. Now, these are the prices for the phase 1. You'll have access to all of those features that I have listed, the smart home, the gym, the swimming pool is in the phase 2, but all of the other features that I listed in my earlier slides. That's the 1 bed is 11 million, the two bed goes for 21 million, and the 3 bed goes for 29 million. For the phase 1, the 3 bed pens is sold out. So that has been sold out. Although the 3 bed pens is still available in the phase 2, but for the phase 1, that is sold out currently. And those are the prices that you have for the fully finished version: 16 million for the 1 bed, 21 million for the 1 bed pens, 28 million for the 2 bed, and 36 million for the 3 bed apartments. For the phase 2 is essentially the same as the phase 1. The only difference is that the phase 2, there's an extra 2 million naira added to it. So the prices are a bit different. There's a 2 million naira added to it because of the swimming pool. Okay, so instead of the 11 million in the phase 1, for the 1 bed, you have 13 million and so on. For all the prices, the difference is just 2 million naira because of the benefit of having the swimming pool in the phase 2. So let's talk about the payment options. We've spoken about the NHF mortgage. I don't think I need to say too much about that. The equity contribution. Now, the equity contribution based on the NHF, based on the FMBN's requirements, is 10%. But for us, our own internal equity contribution is 30%. We require 30% because we require advance funds of that amount so that we can have enough liquidity to ensure that the project continues without any disruption. Okay. Now, this 30% can be spread because some people would say they don't have up to 30% to pay at once. Okay, so we do allow subscribers to spread the payment of this equity contribution over a period of up to 6 months without any interest charge whatsoever. Right? But if you want to pay the equity contribution and you have the funds, you can do that at once. But we're just saying if you don't have those funds to pay at once, you can spread that payment over a period of up to 6 months. Now, we have the commercial mortgage option, which I'm not recommending because this session is essentially speaking about the NHF, right? But some people might decide, look, they don't want to go through the NHF. They would rather just do the commercial mortgage. That is also available as well. That's the interest rate. Those are the terms there. And then the company payment plan. If you don't want to do mortgage, you want to pay to the company directly. You have the payment plan there you can spread payments for up to 18 months and the interest is between 0 and 15%. Now, what I've done here is I've tried to put down, just give a bit of some scenarios, just to show you what can work depending on what options you go for. So now I'm assuming the price of an apartment is 19.5 million. Now, please note that this 19.5 million is just for illustrative purposes. Now, let's work with numbers. Assuming the price is 19.5 million, your equity contribution is 30%. That means that your equity amount is going to be 5.85 million. That's how much you're putting down as equity contribution to the developer, which is us. That, therefore, your loan amount would be 19.5 minus 5.85, which is 13.65. That's how much the FMBN is going to fund. Remember, it has to be less than 15 million. So 13.65 is less than 15 million. So that is fine. Okay. Now, based on that calculation, assuming you have up to 30 years time or 30-year period to pay down on that NHF loan, assuming it's approved, your monthly payment will be 81,838 naira. Okay. Second example, the same 19.5, you've increased your equity contribution to 35%. Your equity amount is 6.825 million. Loan amount is 12.675 million, and the monthly loan repayment will be 75,993 naira. Same thing also applies to the third example there. Again, this is another example, but here I've decided to use a higher amount. Now I'm using 26 million as a price as opposed to 19.5 million. The figures are there. If your equity contribution is 40%, your equity amount will be 11.7 million. Your loan amount will be the difference between the price of the apartment and the equity contribution, which is 11.7. And that loan amount is 14.3. Dividing that by 30, spreading that over a 30-year period would amount to 85,700 735 naira as your monthly payments. Same thing also applies for the second example. The only difference is that your equity contribution is higher, which would then mean that your loan amount will be lower, and your monthly loan repayments would also be lower. Okay, so thank you very much. Those are my slides. I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of our products and essentially what it is that we are offering. Now, like I said, when I started the presentation, we are working very closely with CityCode. So the whole idea is CityCode will do the packaging. If you're interested or if you are trying to secure this mortgage for your colleagues in your office, you can then partner with us, just direct your questions, direct your inquiries to us, indicate your interest to us, and then I will then contact CityCode, and then we can have a meeting and then discuss how we can do business, how we can take this further. Okay, I don't know if you have any questions regarding my slides. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You can raise your hands and I'll unmute you and you can ask a question. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? Any questions from anybody regarding the slides? Okay, so great. Ariemi, are you still there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So I believe we've sort of done justice to this. I don't think there are any questions. We would share the slides for the NHF presentation, and I also make my slides available to those who may want them. And we can then, okay, someone has a question.
Yes.
Okay. Let me see, what's his name? Okay. Olushayaro. Okay, let me see if I can locate you so that you can then I can unmute you and you can ask a question. Let me see. Olushaya. Can you please raise your hand? I'm struggling to find you on the participants list. Olushaya, if you can raise your hand so that I can locate you and unmute you. Okay, I've seen, okay. Yeah, I've seen you. Yeah, so you can ask a question now.
So thank you so much, Bamidele and Ariemi. So I thought that the objective of having this joint presentation is to see how we may probably leverage the NHF scheme for some of your products. So I don't know if the NHF scheme, assuming I have the 15 million naira loan that is approved, can it really meet the purchase price for your service apartment that you've just described for us?
Yes, it can.
I know you used an, I know you used an illustrative figure, but I can see that there is going to be a deficit. If, for instance, I get the 15 million, it might not go as far as the 19 point something million you used as illustrative figure. So I just want to know how we have to deal with the additional amount that will need to be paid.
No, if you recall, there was a slide I shared where I stated that the pricing starts from 11, as low as 11 million, right? So we have some apartments that are 11, we have 13, we have, so it all depends on what you want to go for. So the one bed starts from 11 million, yes, right? For the phase one. Now, even for the ones that are above 15 million, just as Ariemi said when he was speaking, what you would then need to do is that you just deduct the price of the apartments, you subtract the 15 million from the price of the apartment. So that difference is what will then be your equity contribution. So if the apartment is 20 million and you are going for 50 for the NHF, it means that you'd have to pay at least 5 million as your equity contribution. So that will come from your pocket. And then the NHF can then fund the remaining 15. Do you understand that? Hello, is that clear? Do you understand that? Oh, okay. Seems you've muted.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Adewole. Let me add to that.
Yes, I do.
Let me add.
Yeah. Okay. Yes,
Okay,
please.
so let me
Go ahead.
Let me add to that. So, yeah, one thing we should understand is this. I think this knowledge should be for all of us. You get sometimes when we do these presentations, we kind of give some financial advice to people. It's normal, right? For free. These are advices. You go to some places that you pay money. Okay, so now you're taking a mortgage to buy a property of 20 million. There is no way that the bank can finance 100% the price of that property. Even if you go to a commercial bank and you say you want to buy a property, if the property costs 15 million, the bank will not give you 15 million because it is important that you have your equity contribution. Let there be some form of commitment. I don't know if you get my drift. So if you intend to use the NHF mortgage to finance your property, and let's say Mr. Adewole has a property that he wants to sell for 15 million, there is no way we can apply to FMBN for 15 million. What we apply to get from FMBN will be less than 15 million. We can only apply for a maximum of 13.5 million if the property price is 15 million. FMBN will not approve 15 million for you because they expect that out of that 15 million, you must have your personal stake of at least 10% that must come from your pocket.
Yeah, you have to have your skin in the game. That's what it's called. Okay,
the
so
skin, yes.
we have Oluseyi. I don't know if that answers the question, Adewole. Okay, I believe it does.
Yes.
Okay then. Yeah. Next person is okay, Akintunde Olawale. You want to ask a question? Please go ahead.
Yes. Just a clarification.
Yes.
So what would you, or what do you describe as semi-finished and fully finished?
Oh, okay. Yes, that's a very good question. Thanks for asking. So the semi-finished and the fully finished would come, the exterior would be completely done for the exterior. That's the exterior of the building. The paintings, the screeding, the windows, everything, the compound, the surroundings, everything will be completed for both versions. The difference will be with the internal features. So for the fully finished, everything will be done. You have your tilings done, the doors, external and internal doors, the wiring to be done. You will have some kitchen fittings, some sanitary fittings done, POP will be done. But for the semi-finished, the internal is essentially like a shell. So it's just, of course, you'd have this the plastering would be done, but it won't be screeded or painted. That's for the semi-finished. And then you won't have the POPs, you won't have the tiles, you won't have the internal doors, just external doors, but not the internal doors. Okay. And a few other finishing, no fittings. So it's just a shell. The advantage of the semi-finished is that some people prefer to finish their apartments by themselves. For instance, say you are into interior design, for instance, and you'd rather just design your apartment to your taste. That way, that gives you that flexibility. Okay, so those people would rather buy into the semi-finished. And of course, it's also more budget friendly. Not everybody can afford to pay for the semi-finished. Sorry, for the fully finished. So those people can also decide to opt for the semi-finished, and then as their cash flow improves, they can then decide to finish up at their pace. Does that answer your question?
Somehow, because it says some of those things, you're using the word some for the fully finished. So maybe your catalog will explain better for me.
Yes, it does. The brochure states all of those features of the fully finished, all
because
of them.
I know for a fact that you guys also have a way of managing your customers, like the bankers and insurance with your fine print. These are part of your own fine print, semi-finished, fully finished. Only when you go there, we start talking, no, when we say semi, it's not there. So I would like to see the detail of what is semi-finished and what is fully finished. If those are contained in your catalog, I think that's fine.
Yes, that's it. It's there. It's stated there very clearly, right? Yeah, I've given a bit of an overview, but it's stated in more details in the documents, in the brochure.
Okay,
yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'll share that with you. Are you on the WhatsApp group that we created?
No, I know more about your thing. I'm just upon there. I didn't even know it's a phone. I've asked dealings with you guys, and they very
Okay, okay, great. So if you could send me a message, I'll drop my number on the chat box. So if you could also send me a message on WhatsApp so that I can share the brochure with you, right? I'll also drop it on the group as well.
Okay, I'll send you a number. Okay.
Yes, that's my number.
Thank you.
Okay, then. So if I have Ifeanyi who has a question to ask, Ike Gwani, Ifeanyi, please go ahead. Yes.
Okay, thanks. I've thoroughly enjoyed the whole presentation here, but the last speaker actually took out one of the questions I have in mind this whole semester, but your explanation is well noted. Okay, on the other flip side of the question is, while you were doing the presentation, you shared a couple of pictorial views of how, as far as the bedroom will look like and all. So I was wondering if the payment covers the furnishing completely from start to finish, and what are the details of the furnishing, aside from, because I saw beddings in the bedroom as well. So that's one. Then secondly, do you only have Shango Tedo within Lagos axis? And do you do just properties like bare lands, virgin lands, not necessarily properties? So I think, yes, these are my questions.
Okay, very, very good questions. So I would answer the first question, the last question first. So we do land, we have landed properties as well in Shango Tedo as well. Most of our projects, like I said, when I started speaking, most of our projects are actually in Shango Tedo. We do have landed properties there. You can contact me. I've dropped my number. You could just send me a message on WhatsApp and I will share with you the various options of landed properties that we have. Okay. Now you also asked, do we have properties outside of Shango Tedo? No, not at the moment. We don't have building projects outside of Shango Tedo. All our projects are located in that axis, but we have plans to expand to other parts of Lagos and even beyond Lagos. Okay. So we do have plans to expand beyond the Shango Tedo axis. As we grow as an organization, we intend to do more developments in other parts of Lagos and outside Lagos as well, because I can see kids here asking that what of those outside Lagos, that would like to access the mortgage in their location. Yes, if you are outside Lagos and you want to access the mortgage, you can do that. However, we do not have any projects as a company outside Lagos at the moment, but we have plans to do that. The other question you asked was, will the units come furnished? No, they will not come furnished. They will come finished, but not furnished. So the images you saw in my slides were just for illustrative purposes only. It just gives you an idea of how the apartments will look like when they are done and furnished. If you want us to furnish those apartments, that would be a separate discussion entirely. We can then discuss with you, sit down with you, ask you what exactly you want to have in your apartments, and we would ensure that we'll provide it at a very good price. We can discuss, we can negotiate the pricing and all of that, and then we'll ensure that we deliver those features that you require for your apartment separately. But no, it does not come furnished, it only comes finished. Okay. Is that clear? Do you have any follow-up questions to that, or have I done justice?
Okay, that's pretty clear. But just to find out, you're linking this to the mortgage, federal mortgage scheme, yeah? Do they also cover properties, landed properties, not necessarily buildings now?
No, I don't.
One use the.
Aremi, do you want to confirm that? I don't think so.
Yeah, the NHF loan is for residential properties, not landed property. It's not for construction. It's not for construction, it's to buy houses, not to construct houses. I don't know if that answers the question, sir. Hello?
Yeah, is that clear?
Okay, well taken. Yeah, well taken. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, then. So I don't think there are any other questions. I've dropped my number. I believe everybody has seen my number. 08055414019. For those of us who are not on the group, you can send me a message privately and I will respond as quickly as I can. Like I said, we are working, I've said this before and I'm going to emphasize again. We are working very closely with City Code to provide these products to you in an efficient manner. So if you are interested in us coming to your organizations, because I know most of you are into HR, you are HR people. If you want us to come to your organizations and do a presentation with your colleagues or have a discussion with your management, maybe your CEOs, we can do that, okay? We can come individually, we can come together as a team, and then we can have those discussions, and then we'll take you through the stages, through the steps, you know, on a personal level. So we are guiding you on every single step that is required to be taken so that this process is as seamless as possible. Okay, so please feel free to reach out to me, or you can, if you have any further questions regarding the NHF, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Egbe as well. And I'm sure he will be very much available and happy to answer whatever questions you have. Okay. So in the absence of any further questions, I think we've had a very good session. We've done close to 2 hours, 1 hour, 40 minutes now, thereabouts. So I think this is a good time to end this session. Again, if you're on the WhatsApp group, please, we'll be sharing some messages and some updates on the group. Please watch out. But even if you're not on the WhatsApp group, we have your email addresses. We'll also be communicating to you via email as well. So yes, please, feel free to reach out at any point in time, and we'll be glad to handhold you and to guide you through the entire process. Thank you, Dakoru Fasakin, for your comments. Thank you so much. I'm very glad to see this kind of feedback. And yes, please feel free to reach out. Thank you all very much for joining the session, and see you again sometime soon. Thank you. Arimi, you have any last words you want to say before we end the session?
Okay, so very quickly, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. And just to clear all doubts, I want to assure you that the NHF has come to stay, and so many persons have benefited from the NHF, right? Anybody who does not benefit from the NHF would have done that at his own peril, because the NHF loan currently, as I know, is the cheapest facility you can get in Nigeria. You can't get any facility anywhere at 6%. It's not possible. And so people take advantage of the NHF. People might say, I don't want us to be discouraged by the length of time it takes us to process the NHF. I've said here it's typically between 6 months to 12 months. So people, you want to ask yourself, why do people go through this rigor to see that they get this NHF loan? It is very simple. The interest rate is 6% per annum. You pay down the facility at any time without default, without penal charges. You can't do that with a commercial bank. I have the money to pay to prematurely liquidate my loan, and the bank wants to charge me for being a good man. NHF does not do that. So let us seize this opportunity, identify a property you like. We have presented some properties to you. If you like any of them, you can reach out to Mr. Adewole, identify it. And I can assure you, we'll be here to try our best possible to see that we make this journey as seamless as possible, right? Someone asked on the group if she could, I think that was Kate. She asked if someone could key into the mortgage, scheme if the person is outside Lagos. It's very simple. All of those things that I've listed to apply for the loan, your bank statement and all of those things. Nobody is asking you to bring hard copies to us. No. We're not asking you to bring physical copies to our bank. We even prefer them in soft copies. So from the comfort of your own, you can generate your bank statement. Your valid means of ID card, you need to open an account. Just take your phone, take pictures of those things and send them to me via WhatsApp, via email. We'll transmit all those documents electronically. And so you can sit there and get approval and disbursement from the comfort of your home. The only thing you need to physically sign will be those things that has to do with transfer of the ownership of that property to you. That's the title document. And that is going to come much later before disbursement. And so you don't have to worry. With respect to applying for the loan and getting disbursement from the comfort of your home, you can sit there. We'll send you the forms you fill. The same way we send you the form, you mail them back to us. We create your account, send the application to FMBN. I don't know if that answers Kate's question, but I'm sure it did. So it's a very seamless process. We'll guide you through everything step by step, and we'll also give you advice every step of the way, because we've seen where we've burnt our hands in the past and we've taken correction. Subscribers or applicants have burnt their hands in the past. Our customers, they have lamented to us, we've taken correction. And so all of these advices will come to you at no extra cost. All right. So I can assure you that this project is going to benefit everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Once again, please feel free to reach out. Our numbers have been dropped on the chat box, and we'll be glad to attend to whatever inquiries you have. Thank you all very much. We'll end it at this point. Thank you, and see you some other time. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.